PJNet.TV Part 2. It's 9:30 on the East Coast. We have a bumper running. We are recording. We are streaming on all available platforms. Cameras aimed and ready. Background ready. Dell Didway standing by in the green room. We'll switch over to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Folks, that was awesome. Brad Lee in the past segment, but we have something just as awesome as we do every Tuesday night at this time. We have Dell Didway and company standing by. Let's bring them in from the green room. Dell, you have your executive producer there with you. How long are you going to get to have Stofie, visiting with you?
Oh, just for a few more weeks, and then I'm gonna kick her out.
Okay. Is that house of her own still in waiting, or is it ready?
Yeah, they'll be ready to go. They're gonna close here in a couple of weeks, so about a month.
About a month.
Ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's great.
It's gonna be fun when the spring comes because she can cut grass and rake leaves and stuff like that for me, paint the house and that kind of stuff.
Sophie, you're not a very good painter. You don't. I'll give you a hint. If you do it badly enough the first time, they won't ask you to do it after that.
Well, she's being homeschooled right now and she's loving it, right?
No. Sophie, at your new house, I hope that you get a doll house. I hope that you get one. Do they do that up there in Ohio, Dale? Just build little doll houses. Yeah, little.
Yeah, you have one, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has one.
I have two.
Well, how many dolls do you have?
I don't even know.
In several dozen. So
you take good care of them? I bet you do. Okay. Do you have a favorite one?
Joel. Her brother.
And who gave that to you?
It's her brother.
Oh, that's your brother. That's not a doll. Reset. Control Alt Delete.
Right.
Let me. Yeah. Well, Sophie, yeah. I know you'll be happy in your new home, and I hope that you learn to enjoy things like cutting grass and raking the leaves up, and it's all part of life, and you'll find that. And one day you'll grow up and you'll be able to tell somebody else. You got to do that now. Is that fair enough?
Tell them what you ate tonight.
What?
Doritos. Yes.
Well, if I'm ever up your way and it's your birthday, I know what to bring. Okay.
Big bag of Doritos. So.
Okay.
Well, she's gonna go finish watching a movie, aren't you? What are you watching?
The Night at the Museum.
Night at the Museum.
It's
a comedy.
Okay.
Ben Stiller, Robin Williams. Funny movie.
We'll go with that. Next time you're on, Sophie, I want you to tell us about the movie. Fair enough? So take notes and beat it. Yeah, there you go.
Come by.
There's this commercial that
come in here.
This one had big boobs,
no.
And then it said, "Haha, never do got boobs."
Oh, get out of here! All right. I got the door fixed too.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Yes, you have to delete that.
You got it. All right, Dale. Now that Romper Room's over, Dale, you gosh, you kind of came in hot tonight. You didn't. Have you been busy today?
Yeah, it's been a very busy day. It's been a good day, but busy day.
In quarantine? In quarantine? How can you be?
We're not in quarantine. We're just advised to stay home in the States. When kind of not a lockdown, but we're encouraged to stay home. No big gatherings. Only essential people who work. My wife's home. I'm home. So we're all working from home right now.
Okay. I would not. You're essential to PJNet, but I don't know outside of that how essential.
No, I'm insignificant. So just ask the people who read my blog last week. I had a lot of hateful comments and a lot of extraordinary reaction to my
last
to
week
my
or
piece last week.
last week?
Last week when I talked about the coronavirus. It's a couple of progressives got a hold of it and just share, which was good. They shared it. It went crazy online, in the paper, and I got called a bunch of names because I was inciting violence. I was inciting panic. I was I was delusional. I was a bunch of stuff, but that's their opinion. They're entitled to be wrong, and they are. So that's fine.
Okay. All right. So you decided to take a different tack this week.
Oh yeah, I wanted I did. I pointed out last week. Just some food for thought about the virus and how it started and originated, and I didn't make any accusations or many. I just brought up some things for people to think about, and the very liberal, the liberal socialist side kind of didn't like it, and they kind of made their ilk make a bunch of comments and remarks, and they make themselves look stupid when they do that. And so when you protest too much, then there's a problem.
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of like when you learn to speak, if you shout everything, people just treat that as normal. You've got to kind of go down and go up, and
I mean, if you put out a post, I didn't agree with it, I would just keep strolling. I'd just keep scrolling. I just say ignore it. But when the left and the radical socialist liberal mob left, when they don't like something you say, they cannot contain themselves. They have to spew hatred. It's just built within their system. They have to attack because they can't rationally speak intelligently. The left liberal socialist mob, when they get upset, cannot formulate intelligent sentences. They cannot give rational explanations. So they have to call names and attack because that's all their little minds can do. Period. So,
is there a pill you can take, man?
Yeah.
But this week's blog is not about that. This week, and this is characteristic of many of your blogs. You find the good. You find the good in the sports world with so many idiots out there and cowards. You find those with character, and you bring the spotlight on them. And this week, and you're not alone. I am glad to see so many people coming out with messages of strength and messages of hope. And I hope that doesn't serve to cause us to be complacent or less than cautious. But at the same time, folks, this is not a defining moment in American history unless we make it that way.
Yeah, and it is obviously an interesting time. Nobody has ever seen anything like this. And so it is bringing out the best in people. And unfortunately for the few weak-minded, it's bringing out the worst in them, as every crisis does, as everything does. And I've been reading a lot. We've been told to stay in. As I pointed out last week, when 9/11 happened, we were encouraged not to let the terrorists win. But with this is different. We have to stay in. We have to try to limit the exposure. And I get that. But at the same time, we're kind of told to hide. And I understand their reasoning is it's starting to work. And it's just a different time, a different scenario. But there's people who aren't heeding that and think they're defiant. They're the ones getting sick now. They're the ones feeling the ramification of their idiocy and their defiance. And so they're the ones being admitted into hospitals now just for one reason, because they're stupid. They don't listen. They've been brought up in a generation of entitlement, that they're invincible, that they have no responsibility. This younger generation, I don't think they would have survived in World War II. They would not have survived in the Vietnam War and the Korean War. They wouldn't, because they don't have the guts. They don't have the mentality to withstand turmoil and to withstand trial and adversity. They party and they run because they're afraid, because they've been brought up that way. Parents have failed us in this time and generation. A lot of the parents are weak. They believe, give everybody a trophy, let everybody feel good. And I don't agree to that. You don't give everybody a participation trophy. You teach them to participate. You teach them to win. You teach them to try and make an effort. But this generation doesn't do that right now. They're entitled because they've been brought up that way.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up World War II, Dale, because my wife and I were having a conversation rather early on in this, and I said, where is the America that won World War II? See, America unleashed industrial might that is the marvel of the industrial age. We weren't better. Listen carefully. We were not better than the Germans. we outproduced them with inferior quality weapons. But the machine of the United States sprung to life. Cadillac. There's no such thing as a 1944 Cadillac, because Cadillac was only building engines for our tanks. That's the kind of work. The USS Enterprise, not USS. I'm sorry. The aircraft carrier Enterprise. The Japanese thought they had sunk it. They literally thought they sunk it, and they limped that thing into Pearl Harbor and was told it would take months to repair it. It was repaired in less than 1 week, and when the Japanese at the Battle of Midway, the defining I'm supposed to give you some time. Where is the United States? Where is the production of toilet paper? Where is that machine?
Oh man, I tell you what, they're really ramping up right now. In fact, I found some today. I was able to find some today. It was really, and it wasn't that bad. I had to run out and do an errand, and I stopped into one store just to check on things. And I went down the aisle. There's 9 or 10 things. I said, wow, this is really neat. I finally found some. I didn't need it. But I think, with President Trump's leadership, and he's doing a fantastic job, despite being attacked by the media, in my opinion, is what President Trump describes. They are the enemy of the state. I've been in the media. I'm a part of the media. But this generation of, I don't even call them journalists now, they're fictitious warmongers that love to portray America as weak and our president as weak. And this has been something that's been brewing for years. This just didn't happen overnight. I mean, they have been manipulated, and they have been brainwashed. The media has been brainwashed. And I honestly believe, for the first time in my life, I don't like some of the media, but I honestly believe that some of the media and some in our Congress literally hate the United States of America. I honestly believe that, the way they're blocking this bill. I have no other recourse but to think they honestly want the United States to fail. And that's scary, but I don't think they're going to. I think the American people are going to rise up. I think they're going to come to an agreement and help out the American people. But for one side to use this situation to bargain and deal is despicable. And if there are anybody out there who's listening, and I don't mean to be offensive, who is a Democrat, you need to really look at your party and what they're trying to do to this nation, because I really think that they have ulterior motives than to help the American people.
And my wife and I were talking tonight, and there was a day, Dale, there's a lot of good Democrats out there, but their leadership, I don't think, looks anything like most Americans.
Well, if there were good Democrats out there, they would rise up and they would call on some of these leaders to do the right thing. I don't see that. I wrote a post a few weeks ago, what has happened to the Democrat Party? That party is gone. They've been hijacked. There used to be a time when, again, we've talked about this, Coach, where President Reagan and Tip O'Neill could bicker during the day and sit down afterwards and have a cup of coffee. And George Bush and Senator Kennedy could differ on the floor and in the Oval Office, but they could have dinner together and civilly talk. Those days are past. There's visceral hatred amongst the Democrat Party for our nation and our leaders, and it's been evident. It's been evident. In the time of crisis, you come together. When we were attacked on 9/11, you saw them all working together, and that's why it was. They turned a horrible situation into a rallying cry, and it united America. This should be united America. This should be rallying the forces. This should be united Congress and the Senate to come together as one and fight for the American people. But we don't see that. We see this as a deal time. One congressman said yesterday, well, this is a time to get what we want. The Democrats are despicable right now. They have turned. Their party has been hijacked by socialists who want to see America defeated. I guess I can't be more clear than that.
Okay. At a time like this, you have to kind of look at the landscape and acknowledge, okay, we're in a crisis, we're in a situation that's bad. But I remember, well, there's story after story, but can you see what are some of the opportunities that you're seeing out there for heroism and for rising up?
This time now for heroism is just letting people in line, letting people buy things, getting out of the way, listening to your leaders, listening to the president, listening to the vice president, who are speaking in a very calm tone They don't like to tell everybody to stay home and to distance themselves, but that's the best solution right now. So you have to adhere to their advice. Our governor, Mike DeWine, has been hailed by many as the model governor in this whole crisis, what he's doing. He took steps that weren't popular. I mean, we have friends that are probably going to lose their business because of this, but they're listening to him. They don't like it, but they're sacrificing. And if it means sacrifice your business, that's a really high price to pay, but some of them are doing it. Getting out of the way of people, helping them out. My gosh, the one piece that I read about a lady had a buggy full of groceries and her debit card was denied, and the person paid for this person's groceries. That's the kind of things we're starting to see, and backing each other up and rallying. And I pointed out that one McDonald's down in Florida is telling every hospital worker, come by, show your badge, you'll get a free meal. And I think as the Dollar Generals and some other stores are letting the elderly folks in first for like an hour and a half. If you're over the age of 55, you can come in first and you can get what you need first. And all the other younger, selfish people can wait. And I think that's great, because where they're putting the older population, the World War II population, the greatest generation, they're putting them first. And that's what we need to see more of.
There's also, I'm seeing some micro trends, I guess. People now, they're kind of forced to isolate themselves, so to speak. So social media is their window to the world, and we're learning that the power that is being unleashed, both for good and for bad, is in social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been spending way too much time on the last couple of days. I've had some fun with it, but it is uniting people too. There's people who can't visit one another now because they're told to stay away. They can FaceTime each other now, or they can do a Facebook Live, and someone that they're worried about that they can't check up on. They can FaceTime them. They can reach out social media. So that's the good part of it that's been working. The bad part is a lot of negativity out there, a lot of bizarre stories, but. And it's bringing together, board game time. I mean, that's great. I mean, Angie and my daughter-in-law and my grandkids were doing a puzzle the other night. So I think that's great. And now they're all watching a movie right now. So that's fantastic. So it's kind of, you're making the best of a situation, and it's, I think in some aspects, strengthening the family, and maybe that's got what God wants.
I think, okay, well, put it this way, this is going to end.
Yeah.
When is it going to end? Well, I don't know. So the question is what are we going to be like coming out the other side of this?
I thought about that. I don't know. I think hopefully we'll be more respectful. Hopefully we will not take things for granted, and we'll be, adversity should make you stronger. You can see your weakness and see where you're vulnerable. And I hope it points out to some people that they've been hideously selfish, especially the younger generation, by not heeding the warnings and by hoarding. They're the ones hoarding things. You go into I was in a store last week and saw a person maybe 25, 26 with just a pile full of meat. And somebody asked them, is this all for you? And they said, well, yeah. I mean, if they're going out and buying for neighbors, I get it. But they're scared because they haven't faced adversity. They haven't faced a time of trial. And I think a time of trial and adversity can make you stronger, or it can make you weaker. And we choose to be stronger in that. We know we're going to come out of this. I unfortunately was talking to one of my financial advisors today and looked at my 401k. Mm-hmm. Don't do that
idea.
Right
Bad
now.
Idea.
Don't do that. I did. And I'm sorry I did, because I've lost a lot of money. But I'll get it back. Well, I don't like that, but I'll get it back.
I had someone in my life who would do what you just did, and they say, I lost a lot of money. I said, oh, did you sell? They said, no.
I wish I had.
I said, then you haven't lost anything. Of course,
it's gone down.
Yeah. Or they would come in and say, hey, I made all this money. I said, did you sell? Oh, no. I said, then you haven't made any money.
It's good. It's a good time to buy right now. If you had it, it's a great time to invest, and hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. But I think President Trump today rallied the troops, and you saw what happened. He he projected hope and optimism, something that the media bashed him for last week. They said, how can you put out this false hope? Well, 4 years ago, they loved hope and change, right? The guy who said hope and change. They love that. President Trump gives hope and change. And they said, well, how can you mislead the American people? This media is disgusting. This media is radically un-American, and they love controversy.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a few of them out there, as President Trump said the other day in his press conference. He said when he was joking to them about distancing themselves, and there was only 2 people in the room that he liked, and the rest of them should leave. I thought that was hilarious. So, yeah, I think he's doing a great job. He's being a leader right now. His press conferences are very informative, and he's very calm. But it's what he said today. He said, I would like to see the nation open by Easter. What did the stocks do? They rallied to one of the biggest rallies in I think 70 years, because he gave them hope. Mm-hmm. He gave them encouragement. See what hope and encouragement can do? Just a few words from the leader of the nation makes the stocks go up. So what can a word of encouragement from you or me to a few people every day do? It can shoot their stocks up. It can make them smile. It can give them hope and encouragement in this time. So be an encouragement to somebody. Say something positive, and you'll see what happens.
We're over time. Shouldn't this be a great time for authors? I mean, you could read a book.
Yeah, it's a good time for authors to write. I mean, and to read. Yeah, it's not a good time in the publishing world right now. I'm finding out because I'm sending out a lot of proposals, and I'm getting a lot of. I'm not getting any responses right now.
Yeah, production. Yeah, but if you're stuck at home, pick up a book.
Yeah, do a book game. Read a book.
I have this curious relationship with writers and authors. I'm not a reader. Okay. Do you know that I just finished a 400-page book? And that's the first book I've read in decades. And
wouldn't mind.
No.
I don't write that many.
Anyway, so, well, folks, there is hope. There is opportunity. And we just, now's a good time of introspection. You take advantage and make the best of what we've got and reflect upon that. And Dale, final comment. I understand what sports figures do for us sociologically. Okay, they allow us to vicariously live out things that we want to see. I get it. So that's what sports does for us. I understand what Hollywood does for us. It's the same thing. It's just a different theater. I understand what church does for us. What does the media do for us these days?
Scare you. They scare you.
I mean, what is it that we get? Why do we do this? Why do we feed on that?
Because you have, because it's been addictive. Because they've prompted themselves up to the celebrity status that they actually mean something to themselves, and that they're bigger than life. They have the aura that they are more powerful than our legislators and our president and our lawmakers, because that's 24/7. They're on all the time. We can't live without them. So they have done it to themselves. They've made themselves bigger than they are, and they've taken the art of integrity completely away. The media is shameless and disgusting, and I limit myself to it. And it's becoming more in the sports world. You see a lot of sports commentators giving their political thoughts. I don't care what you think politically. Tell me the score of the game. Tell me what happened in the cabinet meeting, and that's all. I don't want to hear your comments.
Yeah.
And the same people who saw my blog last week didn't like my comments. Just if I don't like what they have to say, I click them off. I shut them off. If you don't like what I have to read, you have every right to be wrong. Just keep going. Just go by it. You don't need to comment on it, because you make yourself look like an idiot, because you are an idiot if you disagree with me.
In closing, Dale, let me get your reaction to this. General MacArthur, one of the heroes of World War II, a good general, a good soldier. One time, it was suggested by one of his subordinates that he was a powerful man. Mm-hmm. And he rebuked his subordinate, saying there's a difference between power and authority. He said authority is power exercised with wisdom and discretion. And you describe the media as powerful, and I acknowledge you are correct. But authorities,
Mm-mm.
no.
They're not. They're not.
You with me on that one?
Oh yeah, they have no authority in that. Yeah, if they've gone away from doing their job,
The only
and
authority they have is that which we give them.
yeah, turn them off.
Turn
Tell
them
them to be
off.
quiet. Yeah.
Hit the button. All right.
But I would like to see some people rise up and go to journalism school and become real journalists, and not have this mental image that just like AOC. I mean, she is. I can't fathom how anybody in their right mind could vote for somebody like that, who said, she's important because she has a name tag, she has a placard. So I hope everybody his votes her out coming up, because she's dangerous. She's not just ignorant, she's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you put those two combinations together, and that is a really scary combination. But there's hope, there's encouragement. We're going to get through this, and we will. And you're going to learn lessons. There's going to be people lost, yeah. There's going to be people lose their business, yes, and lose a lot of money, yes. But you bounce back.
Those that lose
I'll
their
get that money
business
back.
and their money will rise up again. The same strength that got them where they were will get them back. I promise.
It's just a stumbling block.
It is. All right. Well, Dale, thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for your comments. By the way, congratulations. You have just established a new PJNet.TV record with over 1,000 views on your promotional video this morning. Thank you for being such a team player.
People are at home bored. So they
no, I did one too, Dale. No, you're the man. Okay, accept it.
Well, do I get a gift card or something for that?
I'll send you a lapel pin from China.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, right. Yeah. Make sure you clean it.
It's been in my garage since we got back from the conference, sir.
Sterilize that thing.
All right. Well, Dale, thanks for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you next week, folks. That was Dale Didway. And he blogs at DaleDidway.com. I forgot to put that up there when he was on screen. My fault. Those of you know. Hey, folks, I'm not going to give you an update tonight. There are many of you that are here for the first time. I don't want to bore you with some of our stuff that we do. I just want to say thank you for those of you who have joined in here on PJNet.TV. Tomorrow, we will start at 9 p.m. Eastern, as we do. And David Winters will be our special guest at 9 Eastern. And then at 9:30, Michelle Medlock Adams, as always, will be with us with her energetic and optimism and all that good stuff. I can't wait for that time. But until then, I'll leave you with two questions, and they're very serious, regardless of coronavirus. First question is, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? The second question is, how long ago was that? It is my challenge to myself and to all of you to never be satisfied with either answer.